Are you in a state of happiness right now? Let's find out.
Do you live in the happiest place on earth? No, we're not talking about Disneyland. We're talking about Alaska. Okay, so it may not be the happiest place on earth, but according to a new poll, it's the happiest state in America. According to the Gallup poll, the top 10 list of happiest states also includes Hawaii, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Nebraska, Utah, New Mexico, and Texas.
So are you guys surprised that the two happiest places in America aren't attached to the rest of America? Do you think there's a connection between being far away from America in Alaska and Hawaii and happiness? What's going on there, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you about one time I spent New Year's Eve. I was working on New Year's Eve in Fairbanks, Alaska, because let's face it, I have a great agent. And it was 42 below zero.
Yeah.
42 below.
That's cold. That's cold.
When it has to warm up 70 degrees just to fucking freeze.
Yeah.
That's cold, right? And so I think they're so happy just because when the sun comes out in June, it's such a big deal. Maybe they took that survey in June,
right,
when the sun is out 24 hours a day. So it seems like if you look at the list of those states, it's where there's the least populated states and where people live far. Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico. You can't see another person for days.
Right, there's only like 4 people in Montana, and they're all Cheneys, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. So. There's less people in Montana, or Wyoming, where the Cheneys live, than there are in my congressional district in Pasadena.
That's
so there's less people in the whole goddamn state, which is why the Senate is unrepresentational. It's disproportionately giving more power to smaller states. That's another clip.
Yeah. Well, I like how you subtly fact-checked me there. It's Wyoming where the Cheneys are from, not Montana.
I just want to know if the Alaska poll was taken before or after Sarah Palin.
Whoa!
Do you think they're happier?
After.
Yeah, they're happier post.
They're like, woohoo, we're happy now.
Palin.
Yeah.
So what is that? So the weather thing I think is really interesting because I definitely am hugely affected by the weather. I am much happier now in California than I was in New York because I wake up and it's sunny almost all the time. But we have 1 and 2, it's Alaska and Hawaii. So obviously weather doesn't have that much to do with it for a lot of people, right?
No, and it didn't seem to make much sense when I was looking at the states that were the happiest in terms of being, I'll tell this, the unhappiest state made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That was West Virginia.
Right.
And I've been to West Virginia.
A lot of backwards people in West Virginia.
Yes, and I spent a lot of time in that area. I get it.
I drove through West Virginia not too long ago, maybe like
That's
6
all
months.
you need.
It's scary.
That's all you
It's
need.
almost like being in like The Walking Dead, kind of.
Yeah, there are some parts. Yeah, I remember in West Virginia they had some roads on the sign about not littering. They rhymed and they were grammatically incorrect. Yeah, so I can get it.
So what do you make about the population side of this? Because also these are not populous places, as you said, but yet we all want to move to cities. That's where we get shit done. That's where
I think a lot of these states people stay put from where they're from. So there's a sense of family, there's a sense of community, there's a sense of belonging. I think when you tend to be more transient and you move to cities like New York or Los Angeles, it's probably a lot harder to make that community because I think this happiness scale was based on a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
So part of it probably is feeling like you have a home and a place.
Right.
And I would imagine that if you're from some of these less populous states and you choose to stay, that's the only world you know. Right, you don't travel as much, you don't see what else is out there, and B, you have a real sense of community within that small space.
Right, so a lot of it also probably has to do with how people define happiness. So if you are just someone that wants to work all day and work, then you could live in a city probably and be very happy, but if you're somebody that wants to breathe fresh air, perhaps you might be happier in Hawaii or something like that.
Yeah, depends, again, what they choose to consider happiness. And I think it's those people who are in those unpopulated states who have a fear of the rest of the world, right? Oh, I don't want to go to... I remember I was touring unpopulated Saskatchewan, Canada 20 years ago, whatever, and everybody was there, oh my God, you're from Los Angeles. I go, yeah, you ever been? It's great. Oh no, you get stabbed. Like everyone's just, half the city of LA is walking around with knives, and the other half's walking around with knife wounds.
Yeah.
That's all they can, hey, if you go there, you're gonna get stabbed. Everybody gets stabbed, everyone.
Yeah.
So that's how people feel about it. So I think it's that. I think it's kind of people validating their choice to be afraid of the world, saying, yeah, I like it. And of course, Hawaii, everybody loves Hawaii. Have you ever been to Hawaii?
No, but you know what? I do know someone who lives there who doesn't love it because they feel like they're kind of trapped. They can't go.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
What a great place to be trapped.
Right,
I'm sorry,
but
I'm trapped
it's
on
very,
the beach.
No, but it's very expensive. There's a lot of
It is.
traffic.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of options. Like once you're
Right.
there, you're there. I mean, look, I've never been to Hawaii, of all places.
it's great.
And I'm sure I would love it because I love the beach and the sun and all of that good stuff. But I had this conversation with somebody. It's this fear. It's this feeling of being confined and not being able to drive to another state.
Yeah.
Or,
Best sleep I ever had in my life was in Maui. I would fall asleep at midnight, wake up at 8 a.m. straight through. Never felt better in my entire life. I couldn't believe how good I felt when I was there.
To your point about Saskatoon and Saskatchewan up in Canada, I did the Calgary Comedy Festival a couple of years ago.
Really?
And all of the comedians were always making jokes about Saskatchewan. Like that was like their go-to, like, the hicks in Saskatchewan. But I met a couple of people from Saskatchewan, and they seemed great, like happy.
They're all nice. Yeah,
Yeah, they're all pleasant, wonderful people.
Yeah.
So I don't know, does happy mean the city or Saskatchewan? I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments right down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll do it again next week.